Day one of the PGA Championship showed us the highs and lows players experience in a major championship on one of Pete Dye's ultimate tests. Now, on day two, it's time to take stock, work with your coach, and develop a plan to win the day and maybe win the Wanamaker Trophy. What can you learn from their struggles and their triumphs? We'll tell you now on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. It is a Chamber of Commerce morning here at the Ocean Course at Kiawah Island. We welcome you into our PGA Coaching Live studio. I am Scott Walker, and this is PGA Coach Steve Scott. What a morning. Beautiful, calm right now, but it's going to get more difficult as the players experienced yesterday.
It is. And yesterday the wind, Scott, came a lot more out of the east, and it was gusting 10, 15 miles an hour. Today it's going to be the same, but it's going to be more out of the north to northeast, so the players are going to have to deal with a lot more crosswinds right off the bat. But it's going to be a good test to see who's going to get that top 70 and ties to make the cut and move on to the weekend.
Making the cut's the number one thing you're thinking about right now today. You can't win the trophy unless you're playing on the weekend. What's so interesting for us here is we get the ability to be able to show people what the players have been working on, how they're preparing, and be able to integrate that into their games.
Yes, this is what the coaching channel is all about. The PGA Coaching Live presented by Cadillac is so much fun. I know you've been joining us throughout all the days, and we're going to kick you off with this final day and get you inside the minds of some great more PGA professionals, and we've got some great times for you. And stay tuned real quick.
Yeah, plenty of PGA coaches that you'll be able to learn from. Our team is ready. And so was Corey Connors on day one. A two-stroke lead for the Canadian, a great ball striker, and really had the formula for this Pete Dye layout yesterday.
We had his coach Derek Ingram on the other day, and really Corey battled really well through the wind. He only had one bogey, 6 birdies, 5 under par yesterday. And it's just a syrupy swing. 2019 Valero Texas Open, only victory on the PGA Tour, but we know Texas is a windswept area, and he's handling these winds very, very well.
Well, you can show us how he's handling those winds as well with a quick tip as well.
Absolutely. So what Corey Connors does so well, and everybody at home can take stock in this one because it's getting the smoothness from the top. Corey has this syrupy swing that we just love. And so it's all about, really the simple tip here is you want to make sure you get to a nice 1 count when you get to the top. And 1, and 1. And then you get to the top and you give it time. Right, Scott, we have to give the golf swing time to happen. The upper body, the problem at home is that a lot of people, they get to the top and they force the top part of their body and their arms and their hands down to the golf ball without letting the sequence properly move through the ball. So what we want to do is make sure, and this is what Corey Connors does so well, he gives it time up here, which allows his lower body to start the sequence into the downswing. And if you can do that at home, you're going to hit some great shots, just like our championship leader right now. Just give it some nice time to rhyme, and you are in business.
Good first swing of the day there, Steve.
Hey, it's easy. It's like riding a bike.
You never forget. You never forget. Well, remember, of course, that we're going to have many more tips like that for you all day. And we're going to have much more from the driving range, the practice area here at Kiawah Island, the Ocean Course. So we're going to send it down now to Hallie Ledbetter, who joins our team today with PGA coach Joe Hallett. And let's introduce you to a little bit more about Joe.
Joe Hallett has established a reputation as a world-class PGA coach, guiding the path of some of the game's top players.
There it is.
Inbee Park was under Joe's watchful eye when she won her first professional event, the 2008 U.S. Women's Open, laying the foundation for a Hall of Fame career. Just a few years later, Joe began coaching a young up-and-coming LPGA talent from the University of Arkansas.
I think Joe's helped me the most just having a plan of how to get from being the 75th ranked player in the world to getting to #1 in the world, because that was the goal.
With Joe's help, Stacey Lewis has won 2 majors and reached world #1 status, just one of several LPGA Tour players who have flourished under Joe's guidance.
I feel like I'm a completely different player since we started working together.
He's just really able to connect with everyone he comes across. And just his demeanor and his character, it just makes you want to listen.
Instead of getting your upper body to go this way, feel like your upper body is kind of going here and covering on top. We're at a really big time in technology. The ability to take maybe some of the experience that Mark and I have.
Joe's impact on the game doesn't just come from coaching today's top players, but also his tireless commitment to molding tomorrow's coaches. In 2008, Joe's dedication resulted in his being honored with the National PGA of America Professional Development Award for his commendable contributions to the education of PGA coaches across the golf industry.
As far as the PGA of America is concerned, Joe's an asset, a real strong asset, not only for what he knows, but what he's willing to do to help advance the careers of future PGA professionals.
He's extremely intelligent. I think that's really important in order to, to grow the game, and not just for tour players, but for teaching pros as well.
Well, it is a beautiful morning here at the Ocean Course. I really like the word that Steve used. Chamber of Commerce morning, Joe, here on the driving range. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. The sun just starting to come up here, and I can tell you there are a lot of players on the range right now, but there were a lot of players here way before the sun came up. And if you think you know your game, try hitting some shots when it's dark outside. That's going to give you a real barometer of how your day's going to go.
Absolutely. I mean, Corey Connors played in the afternoon yesterday. He's out here now. How do you turn things around so quickly and say, all right, now get ready for round two?
Well, when you have the first round lead, it makes it a little bit easier to come out here and kind of carry on from that momentum. And we're going to chat on that a little bit later about something we talked about yesterday, the routine of the practice routine and how important that is. Because sometimes you have to go to bed and wake up and come right back out here.
Yeah, and practice is different from warm-up. Joe, maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think when they finished yesterday, there is practice and there is warm-up. And right now they are loosening up, being this early in the morning. But I'm going to tell you what, at the end of the day, there might have been a few players letting out some frustration out here. So the warm-up it's a clean slate. It's about coming out and looking as we are looking at a brand new day.
Right. And how much time would you recommend normally for viewers at home to give themselves, they've got a match against their friends? How much time should you normally take to warm up?
You know what? If you look at the players out here, we're looking at about a 50 to 55 minute warm up. Now, one of the things you have to factor into that is to get over to the first tee. You don't want to just be dropped off in the cart and magically step on the first tee. You want a little bit of time over there to hit a couple more putts and a couple more chips. So you have to factor all these things in, but probably hitting some golf balls and putting, 45 minutes.
Right, and I think a lot of people at home, you're not probably seeing a physio or a trainer before you go, but it is important to keep that routine. If you normally get there an hour before or 45 before, do you like to putt first? Do you like to hit the range first? Keeping all those things in mind.
And I would like to clarify to our listeners and our avid weekend golfers, that was 45, not 4 to 5 minutes, okay? Just so you know that.
4 to 5. No, definitely. Well, we're on the range here, and all these guys, they stay with their routine, and they sort of, like we talked about before, just go. They either putt first or they hit the range first, but all the routines are different. Patrick Reed, who's hitting balls behind us, is different than an Abraham Ancer or Joaquin Niemann, but they all find what works for them.
Absolutely. That's part of that little signature you can put on your game. That's the way you warm up.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of great swings here on the range, and we're going to take a look at a few here on PGA Coaching Live.
Welcome back to our PGA Coaching Live presented by Cadillac set here. And we're joined by our great PGA coach once again, Rich Jones from the Mets section, Glen Ridge Golf Club and Golf Galaxy in the Mets section, and 2020 PGA National Award winner, Player Development Award. Congratulations on all of that. You certainly motivate and inspire so many players up in the Mets section in New York. Speak about your passion for the game real quick before we get into our demo.
Yeah, so, you know, being from the islands of Jamaica, right, so did not grow up playing golf and playing soccer and cricket. So, you know, really my ability to inspire, I think, you know, just being here, I've inspired a lot. And myself, just watching the players, you know, and talking to you, Steve, and the other coaches, what an inspiration and what an opportunity just to be here.
It's fun to just absorb by osmosis. We watch all these great players warming up for their second round here right behind us. But we talked a little about Corey Conners. I gave a little tip there just a moment ago. And giving it time at the top, the hip rotation. That's your key right now, and that's the point where we want to make sure we get this sequence proper. Share it with us a little tip for sequencing.
So the viewers at home, and it's, you know, for many students when I see them when they come for lessons, and this is a great tip for anyone that's watching to really stay connection, right? So you want to be connected. You don't want to be able to get to the golf ball and have your lower body outrace your upper body. So you want to have some kind of timing, right? So you see a lot of players, you know, they get to the golf ball, get over the golf ball, and they have a really nice turn, nice rotation. They get the shoulder about 90 degrees, the lower body, the hip is rotated on the backswing. But as they get through the golf ball, the arms are going a lot faster, and the lower body is going a little bit slower, right? So, or vice versa. So we want to be able to stay connected. So a drill that I work with a lot of the viewers and a bunch of my students out there is use an alignment stick.
Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. Here, I'll hold your wedge whether you throw that in there.
Yeah, so you get an alignment stick, and certainly you've probably seen a lot of usage with alignment stick, and I think it's a great tool. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and loop this in here, and pardon me, this is live TV.
Another function of the belt loops, for sure, right? I mean, you've got to utilize those in so many different ways, right? But yeah, really cool.
There you go. So you kind of get that through there, and what you're trying to do, if you do this correctly, you won't be entangled, right? So the idea is to kind of go back and forth and do some practice swing and try to get, you know, your lower body to kind of make that rotation. I always, you know, try to get swings, get back to the top. Okay, the upper body is back, the lower body is making that nice rotation. Now, what you want to do, you want to start the lower body first and get that out of the way as you go through, so not getting tangled up. Now, once you get comfortable and start swinging, you go ahead and set up a golf ball and really just approach it, you know, getting your nice posture set up, right? And you're going to take the club back. And really execute that with times. You know, go ahead and take this off and really feel comfortable. So go ahead and practice some more with this. Just really set up, get comfortable.
Brilliant. So much great proper sequencing right there. I mean, it forces you to do it. Obviously, it's a great kinesthetic sort of drill to get your body moving at the right point, get your arms moving at the right point.
Exactly. And Steve, you know, once you get comfortable using the rod, the alignment rod there, just go ahead and put it away. Now, once you feel comfortable, you know, the opportunity for you to transfer it to the golf course or the range, but just go ahead and set up. And now remember, it's the sequence and timing. Get to the top. Really swing through. Practice that, use it at the range, and then transfer that beautiful swing to the golf course.
So awesome, Rich. Thank you for that great tip right there. And all these players back behind us got to have the right sequencing if they want to make it to Saturday. But you want to make sure that you play the 9-shot challenge presented by the 2021 PGA Championship. Now through Sunday for a chance to win some incredible prizes, including a trip to next year's PGA Championship. Visit topgolf.com/9-shot challenge for more information. All right, let's catch up with Morikawa and his coach, Rick Sessinghaus, once again.
Colin, at an early age, we always talked about creativity. Specifically for Kiawah, it's about wind. Crosswinds, we have downwind, into the wind. You need to not only control direction, but you need to control height. So we're gonna hit 4 shots: high draw, low draw, high fade, low fade.
High draw it is. You have to have control of your golf ball, especially when you're warming up. And I love working in it with a 5-iron. It's a little easier.
So we got low draw here. You're seeing it, you're feeling it. Beautiful. So we know there's mechanical things that cause these things, but knowing you, a lot of that has to do with feel and the creativity of visualization, correct?
Club face and path and everything have to be right, but especially if I can't feel my body doing it, then I know I'm gonna have a problem. It's like gut feeling.
Now we go to the other side of the equation. We're gonna go high
easy
fade.
side.
The easy side. Great. So we have low fade. Beautiful.
Obviously, fades kind of work to my favor, so I know I have those down. But now being able to play a lot of courses that I've played before, I'm gonna need other shots.
We're gonna do one more shot. I'm gonna surprise you here. At the top of the swing, I'm gonna tell you draw or fade.
Take a nice slow back.
Draw. So we've done this before in the past. Sometimes we overthink it, but if you're an athlete and react, I think that can also help us understand club face control on that. So that looked awesome.
We are
the PGA team of 20.
the PGA team of 20.
We are PGA professionals from all across America. We serve many different roles across the golf industry. We're coaches, head professionals,
Directors of golf.
motivators, mentors, junior golf leaders.
And we all have one thing in common.
One thing in common. We're all players competing in the PGA Championship. For some, it's our first major. For others, we've been inside the ropes before. Our passion for the game never ends.
And our training never stops.
And as members of the team of 20, we can't wait.
We can't wait to play against the world's best.
The world's best.
The world's best.
At the PGA Championship.
I hit that great. I had a proper thud noise too.
Pretty good there. When I say pretty good, I mean very good.
I've always appreciated having a coach. Mark's been great.
When you're working with a player, you're looking for what are their Achilles heels, what are the issues. He was a really good iron player, but didn't really have a great wedge game.
Would you agree that you're trying to knock that down?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten so much better with my wedges since working with him. We've made that like a focal point. He kind of gets that I probably overthink, so he'll over-explain it to me.
The right arm structure is the big issue for you. What you can't do is retract the right arm. That's what I was trying to explain.
Keep this from being back.
Yes.
People would be surprised that tour players pretty much work on everything. It's easy in this game to think you're doing the right thing, and you might not be.
Being a PGA coach just gives me an opportunity to help people be a better version of themselves. He has all of the ingredients to have success in major championships.
Pictures up. It's all about it's called. It's called. Hi, I'm Colin Morikawa, and this is Behind the Scenes with Cadillac. That's a beast of a car right there. Woo. That thing looks amazing. It's super spacious, which I kind of love. Shoot, see you guys. Oh, it is not warm. I barely went over the water. Let me think about this one really quick. This is fun. There we go. Hands free. That is awesome. Yeah, we're gonna do that again. Sorry. It's actually exciting every time I do it. Thanks for following along. That's a wrap.
On the range here, bright and early before round 2 at Kiawah. Joe, we're standing in front of Corey Conners, 5 under yesterday, so obviously swinging really well. What do you like about his move?
Well, the coolest thing about his move is I'm not even looking at it, and hopefully some of that tempo and rhythm is just being absorbed into my body at some point.
We won't even say anything, Joe. We'll just stand here and absorb Corey Conners' great rhythm.
You know, having that rhythm the first thing in the day, when you finish late in the day yesterday, by the way, I've noticed a similarity here between the age of the player and how much time they spend in the physio trailer. You combine that with a really smooth golf swing, it provides for a great warm-up, and that's what sets the tone for a great round of golf.
Right. And how do, viewers at home find their own rhythm? I think a lot of people talk about technique. That's obviously important, getting in the right position. But rhythm is so important.
Really, and if you watch what the players do, they start with these little mini swings. They're just getting the club to kind of go back and forth at the same pace. Smooth back, smooth through. And as they start to lengthen the swing, they literally get to a swing that's a little longer and it picks up a little more speed. I think rhythm can actually start in the parking lot, believe it or not, and many of us pull in at the last minute. We talked about how long that warm-up time is. Allowing yourself the time to get here, allowing yourself, and when you get on the range, start with those small swings. And you know what? Even with your iron, goodness gracious, put the ball on the tee for the first couple of shots. Give yourself every chance for success.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've got Corey Conners' coach here, Coach Dennis Ingram. They've got a track man out. He's going to hit some, I think, wedges here to warm down before round 2.
I like that term, warm down. Believe it or not, it is.
Just came up with that.
No, it's marketable, I think, actually, at this point. But literally, what do 99% of the people we play with and work with and teach do? They hit 3 booming drives, not always straight, and then they go to the first tee, and you kind of need to gear everything back down, because odds are you might have to chip a ball in the first 2 or 3 holes.
Yeah, and rhythm is so much more than just your golf swing. When you're getting ready to go to a big event, you can control your rhythm by controlling just the demeanor of yourself in general, your breathing. I mean, Corey Conners seems like a pretty chill guy, and that results in a nice rhythmical, chill, smooth golf swing.
And I think so many people always think rhythm is, I can't dance, I don't have rhythm. Right. No, that's coordination. That's a totally different subject at this point. But the rhythm of the way you do things, how do you pull the club out of the bag? How do you walk to the range? Exactly. Breathing, we could talk about that for literally 20 minutes. The best athletes in the world do it. The Navy SEALs do it, and golfers do it. They know how to breathe and how to get a good reaction out of their body and their minds.
Yeah. Well, Corey is heading to, it looks like he's going to go hit some chips here. A few minutes before his tee time, and we will send it back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Hallie and Joe. And Corey Conners done some great work, obviously, with his PGA coach, Derek Ingram. We've seen that throughout the week.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, yeah, Derek was on set. I mean, he coaches the national teams, both the amateur and professional, for the Canadian side. But, yeah, Corey's got to be super happy about what Corey's doing right now and that smoothness of his swing.
Well, let's get to another great ball striker. Honestly, Will Zalatoris, when you talk to players, he is a legend among players, the way that he's able to strike the golf ball, and he showed it here with his eagle yesterday that helped him get to 1 under par on the round.
Yeah, meteoric rise, really, for Will Zalatoris, the Wake Forest product. Just an unbelievable finished runner-up in the Masters recently, just jumping on the scene in his major championships right away. But he does it for a reason, and we're going to show in a moment in the demo. But here's his shot right here that he hit on the 6th hole, 490-yard par 4. He just bombed a drive. This hole's playing downwind. Flies this really high, zips it back, pulls the string just like a putt.
And you talked about the downwind holes really being where a lot of the players made their scores. He followed that up with a birdie on 7 as well.
He did. You know, it's a player, and this is the success of these players out here that are on the top of the leaderboard, like Will Zalatoris. They are in the top of the greens and regulation stats on the PGA Tour. Will is number 13 right now in the greens and regulation stats. So you've got to be pretty high on that because this is a ball-striking golf course.
Well, tell me a little bit. Let's show about how some ball striking can happen, the quality contact that those two players we talked about, Conners and Zalatoris.
Absolutely. So one thing Will Zalatoris does so well, and let's see if I think he hit about a 9-iron. We're going to say he hit a 9-iron in there. So one thing Will Zalatoris does so well, and he's changed his arm playing a lot during his time between his junior days and his collegiate days and now his professional days. But he gets the club very high, you know, like a Justin Thomas, get a very high left arm And Justin Thomas, great ball striker in his own right. But one thing that really separates Will Zalatoris from the rest of the players is when he gets to the top of the golf swing, he does a lot like what Steve Stricker does. And this is why Stricker, Ryder Cup captain this year, is so great. He gets to the top. There's not a lot of down cock like a Sergio Garcia. There's just he basically just takes it up to the top, feels like the shaft points at the sky more. He's got tremendous flexibility, though. That's one thing you have to understand. But when he gets it to the top, and he points this club to the sky without any independent hand action, and when you can keep your hands quiet through the impact zone, you're going to hit a dead straight with no curvature.
He is a pleasure to watch, and we'll be able to see him 8:33 tee time for Will Zalatoris. Now let's catch up with our friend, PGA coach Michael Breed.
I'm Michael Breed, PGA professional, and I want to talk to you about improving your alignment. You know, we say the PGA stands for posture, grip, and alignment. Well, remember that A, we're talking about alignment. I'm on the 18th hole here, about 165 yards to this hole location. And one of the biggest alignment challenges that you have is you're using your feet to aim. You get in here and you go, okay, well, I need to make sure that they're aimed in a certain direction. Alignment is not found in your feet. Alignment is found in your shoulders. When your shoulders are aimed over here, you're aiming to the left. If your shoulders are aiming over here, you're aimed to the right. And notice that I didn't move my feet at all. All I did was just alter the direction that the shoulders are going in. So what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to where you think your shoulders are. Hey, you know what? I want them to go just about parallel to that. So this is where I want to be. So when I get set in to hit my shot here, now I know that my shoulders are set properly. And one of the things that you'll see is the top of your lead forearm will be just above the trail forearm. When my shoulders are open, that will disappear. You can see that disappear right there. Once I get my shoulders correct, now we can start to see some of the lead arm above the trail arm. So get in here, 165, all the pressure. PGA Championship riding on it. Wanamaker Trophy, got to hit a good one here. Come on, baby. Be right. Oh, yeah. I've got a birdie opportunity on 18. All the pressure is out. Aligning your shoulders is proper alignment, not aligning your feet. Remember that when you go out to go work on your game and you want to improve, pay attention to where your shoulders are going. When you know where they're going, that's where that ball is going to go. That's how you can improve your ball striking with your irons and with your driver.
Hi, I'm Stephen Youngner, PGA head golf professional here at the Ocean Course at Kiawah Island. We're here on the 14th hole of very dramatic par 3, and we're going to talk a little bit about putting today. A couple of the unique aspects of the greens at the Ocean Course is the type of putting surfaces that we have. We have a unique grass on these greens called Paspalum grass. Folks that visit us that are used to putting on Bermuda grass sometimes take a little bit of time to adjust to this grass because there is no grain. The ball rolls very true, and the gravity of the green is really the determining factor on the break of the putt. This green is probably the most exposed to the wind. So what that means, this green would be slightly faster than some of the other greens. So we want to take a little bit of pace off and play a little bit more break. So I've got about a 20-footer here, and I think this putt's probably going to break about 3 inches to the right. I hope this putting tip helps you in your next round at your local course.
Trying to break 90 at Kiawah. The what, Mark? What's Kiawah?
Hardest golf course in America.
Hardest golf course in America. And with this wind?
I'd put it up against any course from the back tees.
We're playing the back tees, right?
We are. 300 more yards.
300 more yards. So, in my head, it's possible. No one's really come to me for rational thinking or reason. So what we're going to do here, we're we're going to just see if we can come in on the back nine with a reasonable score. What would a reasonable score be?
7 over.
Target acquired.
Can you zoom in on this? Where is the golf?
There's no golf out there.
Come on! I will never forget that shot.
New best shot of the day.
We've already made the decision.
Come on, man!
And welcome back to PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. Beautiful setting here on this morning, early in round 2. And we are joined by our friend and the host of PGA of America Radio on Sirius XM. This David Marr III. Hello, David.
It's great to be here with both of you. I guess I got to change my name, my middle name, maybe to Scott. That way I'll fit in somehow.
The only way,
The only way.
Scott's the best name in the world. You know, he just has it last. So tell me about the show in particular, because obviously you've been talking a lot. The PGA of America is important to your family, and representing it with great content on Sirius XM every day has to be a pleasure.
Well, the PGA of America, hugely important, not just from Dad's win at the PGA Championship, his Ryder Cup captaincy and playing. My grandfather was also a PGA of America member. All my uncles, my brother as well, all the males with the last name Marr have been in the association to one degree or another, except for me. I'm the black sheep. I got into television instead, and now into radio. PGA of America Radio is great. We've had you on there, Scotty. Have so many PGA of America members come on now that we've changed the time of the show to Saturday and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Typically, wherever you are in the country, you might be headed on your way to a PGA of America facility, maybe trying to get some coaching in and try and get your game a little bit better. May play, may go practice, but it's right at the proper wheelhouse time for us to get folks on to understand more about the PGA of America, to understand more about their games, and also pick up some tips. It's really great. Great time, perfect time for the association to be highlighted and the facilities as well, but also perfect time for those who are listening to get their games in shape when they're going out there.
That's right.
Now, your father won the 1965 PGA at Laurel Valley Country Club, Arnold Palmer's backyard. I know that was probably unpopular. They wanted their hometown guy to win.
Unpopular.
But
not in the Marr house.
But for sure. But what happened after that? What sort of things transpired from that moment?
Well, it was a huge day. He snuck by a couple of guys you may have heard of, Nicholas and Casper. Not sure if they actually had good careers after Dad took them down and broke their egos and all that.
Casper's a good San Diego guy.
There you go, exactly. Nicholas, I think he's from Ohio, and he had some success after that. But it was a big day for us. My mom was not on site because she was 9 months pregnant. I was 3.5 years old. My sister was 4.5 years old. So we were watching it from a distance. And I remember the sort of hubbub of what was going on. Again, my mom, literally 9 months pregnant. We ended up going to a more quiet place to watch. We watched. My mom ended up coming over to me and said, David, your dad, it's a very important day for your father. Then her water broke and she went to the hospital. My brother was born the same day. So my brother prefers to think of August 15th, 1965 as Dad's win as the second most important thing that happened. But Dad came home with that $25,000 check, had a new son. We went out and he went out and bought a house and a Cadillac. So how about me on this right here on the Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac? Perfect place to be.
Cadillac's in your blood, too.
Absolutely.
Tell me about your memories of this place, because, going back to the War by the Shore in 1991, this place has always had, it's transformed over the years, but it's always had a place as a stern test of golf that provides great drama.
Well, in 91, when it was first announced, there wasn't a blade of grass out here other than the seagrass that you see. I mean, it was basically a sand dune, a barrier island. So the thought was, oh man, we're having troubles as far as the Ryder Cup is concerned. What's this American team going to do against Europeans at that point, having such a great success against us? The most I remember, because it was difficult to get around, was basically the color of those jackets on Sunday after the win. The nice cashmere, I think they were cashmere light blue, and Dave Stockton was all bent out of shape when they threw him in the ocean because it messed up his cashmere jacket, but I think they probably deserved to be a little shrunken down and thrown in the closet.
Well, I know you had a lot of great PGA coaches just in your own household. Obviously, father, grandfather, really influential in your life. who else maybe spearheaded you on into the game and really got you enthused about the game? Because we never listen to our parents, right?
Never. And that's, Dad's a PGA champion. He'd say, hey, weaken your grip here a little or whatever. And I say, well, what does he know about my game, right? I know my game better. And I'd go to the practice tee and work on it a little bit. Turned out the old guy knew what he was doing. But I'd have to go a generation before because my dad was 14 years old when his father passed. And the PGA of America in Houston, Robbie Williams, who was a legend in the Marr household, really underwrote our family, put my father to work in terms of sweeping up the shop, caddying, doing whatever he could in Memorial Park. And the PGA of America did what the PGA of America does, took care of its own. And in many ways saved our family, made my father be in a position where he could then go to Southern Florida. He bumped into Claude Harmon down there, who hired him to work at Wingfoot, to work at Seminole as well. And from there, my father, with his strengths, became sort of an urbane, witty PGA professional that, yes, he had success on the golf course, but a lot of success off the course, all due to Robbie Williams saving his life and Claude Harmon teaching him the way.
So I ask both of you then, because of that collegial feel, that family feel, how does that translate into the advice, the coaching that is given to all the people here in this country and around the world that want to learn this game?
Let me start, okay? Because from my perspective, I turn it over to the PGA of America professionals. Those are the guys and gals around the world that can really teach you, and around this country especially, teach you what's going on in the game, protect the game, make you look good when you're out there, suit you up with the right equipment to play well, but then teach you the game, and more than that, teach you the most important parts of the game, maybe not on the golf course, how to play it and how to live it.
Yeah, we're simply the conduit, right? I mean, that's what we want to connect our members or our friends, no matter what sort of level or age or whatever, to this great game and these great players and everything they do well to help you learn and for the betterment of the game.
It comes through, and I think that's what's so great about being on this set with you guys, being on the range, and just feeling that love and camaraderie. PGA of America radio host on Sirius XM, David Marr III. We are grateful to have you, and at this point, let's send it now back out to the range. Hallie Ledbetter and Joe Hallett.
All right, well, we're standing on the range here watching world #1 DJ warm up. Joe, DJ is an athlete, to say the least. He can bowl 200 left-handed and right-handed. He can dunk a basketball. He is an absolute specimen.
Well, and you know what? So much has been copied in his swing right now. It's something we were talking about just before we came on. And, we look at the juniors out there and we see so many people on the lesson tee now trying to copy certain factors of DJ's swing. Maybe it's the bowed wrist position at the top,
right,
or maybe it's that really exit left, I think is what we're calling it right now on the follow through. The point of it is with DJ's athleticism, you can try what he's doing, but literally as long as you have power and accuracy, which are two very important things in the game of golf, as long as you've got that, go for it, try it. But he's got that because he's an athlete. And I think that's so important for the junior golfers right now to know, play other sports.
Yeah.
Shoot, go bowling, okay? That's a sport. Play basketball, play tennis. One thing that's amazing, you just kind of led into, is that he's almost ambidextrous. I mean, I could bowl 200 with my right hand. It might take me 10 games to bowl 200 with my left hand, and they might occur on two different lanes, okay?
Yeah.
But literally learning the strength and the coordination, those are things that come from other sports. Those are things that come from all activities. All activities can be good for golf.
Absolutely. You have these kids that really want to specialize at a young age, and DJ is a testament. You want to really be an overall athlete, and obviously DJ hits it miles, but I know he worked with his coach Claude Harmon, and we see the track man here. He did a ton of work with his wedges, which he credits helped him get to #1 in the world.
I mean, there's absolutely no question, and again, for golfers who are, maybe they're struggling to break 80, for kids who are all of a sudden you get that growth spurt and now you're hitting the ball miles. Don't waste your time on the range hitting 6 irons and 7 irons. Do what DJ did and go start hitting your wedges. Learn how to score from 100 yards in, because sometimes that little growth curve for juniors, all of a sudden you're the big man on campus. Yeah. Well, then they throw you back a set of tees, all right? But while you're up there, learn how to score from 100 yards in. Learn the clubs that you need and keep trying to hit that ball hard.
Exactly. Well, let's watch DJ hit a few. You see Claude Harmon here with his cell phone in his hand, checking the TrackMan numbers. Joe, what exactly would he be looking at?
Right now, especially with a wedge, and especially with the conditions that are going to be out here today, you're going to want to actually know two kinds of wedges. One of them would be a higher, softer wedge with less spin on a downwind hole, where you know you're not going to be able to back the ball up at all, so you just want to kind of float it in the air. And the other is going to be a more controlled trajectory when you're into the wind, so that it can go the yardage you need. You know, if the wind gusts up here, you know, if you have a sand wedge in your hand, you really don't have another, there's not like a 90-degree wedge, you know? So sometimes you have to learn to hit those clubs a little different trajectory, and right now that's one of those things that they look at. You know, real quickly, one of the things I love, most of us grab the wedge. Look at the, I believe Mo Norman in his heyday used to call those bacon strips, those tiny little divots that he's taking as he takes his swing. So many of us grab the wedge, and it looks like we've started an archaeological dig.
Yeah, exactly. So DJ shot +4 yesterday. Not great. What is his mindset going into today?
Well, you know what? Sometimes when that happens, you play and you literally know there are birdies out there. There are totally birdies out there. And it's not about going out and trying to take something back from the course. Sometimes you have those days and you go, you know, if I could have dropped a putt on 6 or I could have dropped one on 10, I might have changed the flow of things a little bit. Go out, you know, hit a good wedge, hit a good drive, in the opposite order, of course, and then hit a good putt. And as soon as the cap breaks off the top of that hole, I mean, someone like DJ is totally going to be able to drop a lot of birdies. And he's playing at a good time of day. Right now, he can get out there while the wind is still soft.
Definitely. Well, we mentioned Claude Harmon earlier, DJ's longtime coach. DJ's done some work with his father, Butch, and Claude is sort of the man in charge now. Joe, what are your thoughts on Claude and his teachings? Really incredible roster he's got.
You know, yesterday we had Dottie Pepper in the studio, and she wrote a book called Letters to a Future Champion, and it was about things that her coach had passed on to her. I have a feeling that just the family photo albums are filled with golf pictures and little sayings in the side. I mean, it's a heritage of golf. It's in the DNA. And the coolest part has to be the things that worked 80, 90 years ago, they're still fundamentals. They still work. And what does that provide you? It provides Claude another library of how can I tell him the same thing a different way? What a blessing.
Exactly. I got a little story to share here. So my dad, David Ledbetter, his dad is Butch Harmon, and Claude and I got to play the Harmon Par 3 course down at the Floridian in Jupiter, Florida together. And it was really neat. We had very sort of similar upbringings watching our dads, you know, coach these world-class players. It's a very unique childhood, but very special. And I mean, I learned a lot from my dad, and I know he's learned a ton from his as well, as you know, now he's out here coaching the #1 player in the world.
I almost feel like you're the horse trainer that knows something about the horses. You're like, no, he's not going to run good this week. His ankle is sore.
Exactly.
But it's a blessing to be around that and knowing and just the heritage, your heritage and his heritage, even with all the technology that's out there. Mm-hmm. These PGA coaches and these coaches know the simplest way to say things, and that's what they're trying to get done today. There's no time to be complicated.
Yeah. So, you know, DJ and Claude have been working together for a while. They obviously have a great relationship. Joe, when someone at home is, you know, looking to find a PGA professional and, you know, wants to start really investing in their golf game, what should they be looking for in a coach?
You know what is the biggest thing, as you well know, is a match of personalities. Sometimes it's a match of physical stature, but I've learned great things from Bob Toski, who was literally one of the smallest players and coaches ever in the game. But it is totally how do they get the information across? Are you an engineer? Then you might want to get with someone who's technical. Are you more of an artist? Then you might like the guy who comes out and says, I just have my shorts and shoes and a t-shirt on, let's go. Yeah. A coach is your friend, and it's a personality match. Then you can both work on the information.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a match between Claude and DJ here. And we'll continue reporting from the range on this beautiful day at PGA Coaching Live.
I could drive around in a Cadillac my whole book tour.
All right, Hallie, thank you. Back here in our set, PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac, joined now by Joanna Coe, PGA coach from Baltimore Country Club. And we were talking a little bit more, right? I came to the game as someone who played a lot of baseball when I was younger. And sometimes that would actually hurt my game, some of the habits there. But being athletic, how can you translate that into the game of golf?
We see it's tough for baseball players as far as hitters, because the golf swing is actually more like a throw than it is a baseball swing. So go into those outfielder skills, whatever you have there. But that's why we see a lot of quarterbacks that are really good golfers. Tony Romo, the match, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Tom Brady pulled off some amazing shots because quarterbacks have this ability to separate the lower body and the upper body. So in golf, we call that the kinematic sequence. So let me explain the throw first of all. So these great quarterbacks, they tend to step out with their left leg, so they're pressuring the ground, and it starts from the ground up. So it's left leg, the hips, then the chest, the right arm goes into external rotation, and then they release the ball. So it's the same thing in the golf swing where that upper body, we turn back, that lower body starts to initiate the downswing. There's pressure into my left leg, then it's my chest, left arm, and the club releases. But for a lot of higher handicap players, it's actually the opposite. We see that upper body is thrown first, left arm and club first, but that'd be like a quarterback throwing off their back leg, throwing a pick, and they don't want to do that, okay? So here's my demonstration of the throw. There's my girl, here we go. Live TV, not shabby.
That was a great catch, Rachel.
Thanks, Rach.
It was a great throw, Joanna. And you talk again about sequencing, though. It is important just to make sure to almost have, Hidetaki Matsuyama had that beat in his swing where he was trying to get that sequence. Is that, would you go that far with someone?
Sequence, timing, athletic movements. I think we try to complicate it a bit too much, that golf swing, but at the end of the day, it's a very athletic movement like a throw.
Well, wherever your golf journey is going, you have a PGA coach that can help you get there. Find yours at pga.com/coach.
So every day we got to get our body to feel the same, right?
Every day you sleep differently, you wake up differently, and you never really know how your body is. So I've always got this red band. I'll kind of just set up like I'm hitting a golf shot and just see how much rotation I can get.
We don't want to cheat and just lift the arms. There has to be a rotation that's occurring.
You'll always see me do some leg kicks. So I'll start going forward, and then I'll start going side. And that just kind of gets the body started. You just want to be ready by the first hole, not by the 15th.
Tell us a little bit about how you go through your bag before a round.
I just go 60, 55.
I think starting with wedges is also super important for tempo.
Just to slowly get the body warmed up. I mean, I never really start with full golf swings. You kind of have to ease your way into it. I always go my 8-iron. 8-iron's my favorite club. 5-iron.
I think a lot of it is getting your mind warmed up, rehearsing a shot that you're most likely going to have on the golf course.
Actually visualizing like that's an actual pin is kind of huge for the warm-up. 5-wood, 3-wood driver. Go back with a few chip shots. I'll always end on 6 balls. It's just the way I do it.
Well, I think we're ready. Let's go.
Awesome.
All right.
During my career, I was fortunate enough to win 6 majors, but I'm most proud of my service in the Marines and my membership in the PGA of America. At the PGA Championship, 20 PGA club professionals dedicated to growing the game will compete against the world's best. Some are coaches, head professionals, business leaders, but at this major, they're all players. So pull up a chair and join me in cheering the team of 20 at the PGA Championship.
Why is there a golf coach? As a player, you can't see yourself. So we are the eyes and the voice of things that we see.
Careers are ruined in between shots. That's where the narrative starts. What if I do this? What if I do this? And then they just get more and more lost. So they end up digging a deeper hole rather than building themselves a ladder.
A lot of times it's technique, a lot of times it's mental, making you understand the player himself.
When I first came out here working with all the players, I mean, there weren't mental coaches and putting coaches and wedge coaches and backswing coaches and down, you know, the rest of it. So we sort of did a bit of everything, you know, back in the day.
Whatever it is I do to try to narrow the space that trial and error is happening. So now, you know, by narrowing that space, you're making the likelihood of them finding their best stuff much higher.
Hey Colin, it's Rick. Just to remind you that, hey, keep that driver grip nice and loose. Grip pressure is so important here to play your best golf. So let's loosen your grip, and that way you're going to control that club face and let that power come through.
We're here at the 18th hole at the Ocean Course. What a great finishing hole. One thing we always practice is loosening our grip. You know, in practice, how do you loosen your grip? You tense up a lot, but it's also about being mentally free. And just know that I can hit a great shot, hit a great cut shot down that fairway. It allows me to relax, take my deep breath, loosen my grip, and just let go. Confidence is everything. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your team, your equipment? Because if you don't have trust, you're never able to reach that one goal. You know, whether it's on the golf course or behind the wheel, I think if you believe in yourself, you're able to let go. Super Cruise? That's freaky. That's awesome, though. There it goes. Just a really smooth lane change, and like, it's actually exciting every time I do it. It's so much fun.
It is a beautiful morning at the Ocean Course here on Kiawah Island. Joe, we're watching Jordan Spieth warm up. +1 yesterday. Not great, but, you know, he's still in it, right?
Well, one of the things that you find the best players in the world doing when they're out here, besides practicing all the time, is they don't try and get greedy on a golf course, especially in the major. You know, the old adage is don't shoot yourself out of it in the first round. And, you know, a couple, you know, you have a few birdies, maybe a great up and down. +1 is obviously well within the realm of everything here right now. This is a course that could change 4 shots on a 9. But, you know, plodding his way along, that's part of being a competitor. And, you know, if your mindset as a golfer when you go to the first tee is, man, I'm gonna shoot the lowest round today, and I'm gonna set the course record tomorrow, and then I'll lap people. No, that's not what's gonna happen. Right. The game itself is keep yourself in position, keep yourself in position. You are literally like a lion in the forest, and you just waiting for the time to strike.
Right.
And that's where he is.
Right. Just plod along, be patient, especially at a place like Kiawah. You know, who is definitely been patient. He's been in a, dare I say, slump, you know, but he's out of it now. He's got his mojo back. What are your thoughts for the viewers at home? You know, if somebody is, you know, they know they're capable of good golf, but they're just, things aren't clicking. What do you do?
Well, we commented a couple of days ago on the fact that he and his coach, Cameron McCormick, is, I mean, he is one of the neatest guys, so that they kind of concentrate on 3 particular things. One is definitely the technicals of the swing. They bring out the TrackMan, they look at the data, they look at the numbers, because the old adage is the golf ball never lies, and it really, really doesn't. That ball, when we can mark what's happening with that ball in the air, we know what the club and the face of the club are doing. And from there, it's just a short journey up to the grip, and then you can kind of look and see what's changed here a little bit. So the technical of the swing is huge. Then they keep statistics, and that gives them a little bit of those, what's trending up, and what's trending down. And they're always trying to figure out the one that's trending down. If we can keep kind of popping that back up a little bit, that's where you get that higher level of play. And the most important thing, you know, Cameron and Jordan have been together for so long. They're not changing the message. They have, you know, Jordan's become a greater athlete. He's become stronger. He's become more flexible. Cameron's become a more intelligent instructor, learning all the new techniques that are out there. They're still not changing the recipe. And I think it's a great testament to a player who will stick it out knowing that this game has ups and downs. And when they can stick with their coach, their PGA coach, I mean, it's just a testament to this is what this game is. It's a journey. It's not always at the top of the roller coaster.
Exactly. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. That's just golf. So we're watching Jordan hit a few here. Joe, what have you noticed about Jordan's swing, you know, when it is off and when things are going well?
Well, one of the funny things is it's kind of the pose on the follow-through. It's one of those where when a player's on, like he's on right now, literally you just see this air of confidence after he swings and the balance. And when players are off, you almost see kind of the club falls out of the hands a little early, or, you know, there's this tilt in the body like, oh, that was just not my best. So you love seeing the good, balanced, and confident follow-through.
Especially Jordan. Jordan's so animated. It's very telling how his finish is. We know exactly what kind of shot it was.
You know, we chatted a little bit off the camera here before we came back on, but one thing that Cameron does with him is he makes Jordan earn his way off the range. He has to earn his way off the putting green. He has to earn his way off the short game area. What I mean by that is he gives him challenges, little games, little challenges. Okay, hit these 6 chips and 3 of them have to be within 6 feet and the other 3 have to be within 10 feet. And I can only imagine, you know, the kind of the things that they went through before they got here to Kiawah, because it isn't just an ordinary challenge. But that's a good lesson for the juniors. That's a good lesson for every golfer. You talked about warming down. Once you warm down, give yourself a little contest, give yourself a little test, and earn your way back to the clubhouse.
Absolutely. You know, I think golf is one of the only sports, if not the only sport, where, you know, if you're swimming, you practice swimming in a swimming pool. If you play volleyball, you practice on a volleyball court. Golf, you don't necessarily practice on the golf course. You practice on the driving range or the putting green. And a lot of times people are just practicing swing, or, you know, they're just scraping hitting, or they're just whacking a bunch of putts. And I think it's really important to, like you said, to challenge yourself, to play little games, have a chipping contest, see if you can hit, you know, threaded drive between 2 pins on the range, and just simulate golf, because that's what we're all trying to get better at.
It really is. People wonder why that walk is so long to get from the practice tee to the first tee. It's because you're going to a whole new area code over there. Yeah. Nothing like where you've been standing. Those games are absolutely the best way to put a bridge between here and there.
Right, exactly. Do you have any other tips, Joe, on how people at home can sort of get in the golf mode? Maybe if they're even working on something in their swing, how do you work on something in your swing and then take it out to the golf course?
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's a fun little game, not only just working on your swing, but every once in a while, go to the range and literally pick 8 golf balls and give yourself half an hour to hit them. What you're going to do with them, I don't care. It's your decision. It's your time. But that might emulate what's going to happen on the first 2 holes or the first 3 holes of your golf course. Maybe you'll hit a drive. Maybe you'll go check an email or look at the watch. That's that emulation of time and what happens. Here, you get so much done. You hit so many golf balls in 30 minutes, and yet out on the course, you know, I mean, you might only play 2.5 holes, and goodness, with the way golf has picked up over COVID, you might only have played half a hole the way the courses are crowded right now. So it's a fun game. Take 8 golf balls, give yourself half an hour to hit them, see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're watching Jordan warm up here, and I think it's important to note the pace at which he hits golf balls. Like you said, he's not rushing. He's looking, he's analyzing every single shot. You know, okay, what did that one do? All right, let me get a good feel for today. And then he hits another one. When you look at most amateurs on the range, they hit it, scrape another one, hit it, scrape another one. So I think that pace, especially when you're warming up, you're trying to set a good rhythm for the day.
Absolutely, and as we say, most amateurs and our golfers that are struggling and trying to get better, when they don't hit a good one, immediately the next ball comes out. Not the best players in the world. When they don't hit a good one, they'll actually step away for a second. Maybe they'll go back and talk to their coach. Maybe they'll just change to another club, but they'll kind of rehearse the move that they wanted. And our natural reaction was, oh, that was horrible, I'll hit another one. No, we know it was horrible. Why was it horrible? Make a practice swing. If you don't know what to do, try to make what you think is your perfect swing. You and I have played enough golf to know that for the 1,050,000th time, our practice swing, even though it's perfect, will not look like the actual swing we put on the ball.
No, definitely not. Well, Jordan here warming up for the second round, and watch him hit another one here and then send it back to the studio for PGA Coaching Live.
Day 2 of the PGA Championship is underway from Kiawah Island. The ocean course has provided questions and you need answers. Take stock, work with your coach, develop a plan for the day, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to lift the trophy on Sunday, the Wanamaker Trophy. What can you learn from these players' routines and bring to your own? We tell you now on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. We are that close to the ocean here at our set, PGA Coaching Live. Scott Walker along with PGA coach Steve Scott. This is a wonderful opportunity that we have here to really see the players and the coaches that have inspired them.
No question about it. I mean, we've seen it throughout our coverage here, starting from Tuesday, up and down the range. Some great coaches have come through our set, and we've seen them all out there on the practice field, in the practice tee, playing and coaching all of their players all the way around the golf course.
Who inspired you? Who got you started?
Well, I've got to give a nod to my very first golf coach, Ray Daly. Well, I got to give a nod to my father, first of all, who got me into the game.
Mine
and then
too.
my father was wonderful and you know, taught me some great lessons in life. And then Ray Daly, the PGA professional and coach. My first coach when I was 10 years old, I met him at a local golf show, and I was hitting balls into a net, and he said, "Come down to my range next week." Never charge me for a lesson. What a giver. It's all about paying the game back.
So there are a lot of lessons from Ray Daly and other things that you've learned right here in this book. Hey, Tiger, you need to move your mark back. This is the book written by our author and coach, Steve Scott. And tell me a little bit about that day, 1996, the U.S. Amateur, and playing against Tiger Woods. This is the legend had started, but not fully, right? And you had an opportunity. And tell me about how your instincts and training played out in that day.
Well, Tiger was going for history that day. None of the greats in the game had ever won 3 U.S. amateurs in a row, and I was the only guy stopping that history for Tiger Woods. We went 38 holes in the match. He beat me and went on to say hello world the next day. But the 34th hole of the match was really the key moment in the match. I'm 2 up with 3 to play. And my ball, I had made a par putt, and I asked him to move his marker over before I hit my putt. And so I hold my putt for par. He's got a putt for birdie that I forced him to make because I made. And I'm walking off to the side of the green. I said, hey, Tiger, you need to move that mark back. And he had completely forgotten. And if we know the rules of match play, Scott, if you play from the wrong spot, you lose the hole, the match would have been over. But I think the big lesson to be learned from the book and from that moment is just the fact that I learned that at an early age from Ray Daly. It's just an instinctive part of the game that I knew, and I didn't even think twice about not doing it. And it was just a great moment in history. And Tiger Woods, PGA champion many times over, and we hope you get back, Tiger. Really, we want you to be back here and playing with these greatest players in the world. But that's the greatest lessons that we learn from the game.
Well, you can get the book wherever books are sold. I have mine as a signed copy. You can't have that one. But you talk about things that are really ingrained in golfers. You're holding on to a yardage book here.
Yes.
And how do golfers use that almost instinctively as they're getting themselves ready for the shot?
Well, we go from that book to this book, right? And we see the players out there, and they're looking into this book even before they're playing the golf course. They're looking at the hole locations, and they're looking at the compass on each hole. There's a wind direction that's varying today. Again, coming out of the northeast today, different from yesterday. So they're trying to navigate how they're going to fix those holes and really conquer those holes today. Front yardages are very important to players. They want to know what's the number to the front, and then they add what's on the hole location sheet. Then really, finally, it's charting the greens and getting a sense of what the greens look like, and so they can position their golf ball into the greens to have the easiest putt.
Tell me about front yardages, because we're amateurs. We take out the rangefinder, we hit the green, we hit the flag, and we think that's the number. Why is that not the number?
Well, note that the PGA of America has allowed rangefinders to be used in this PGA Championship for the very first time, and I know some of the players out there are using. They definitely speed up play in so many ways, but the pros have so much. This is their Bible right here, and they utilize this book to great perfection.
For you, as we take a look at the conditions are a little bit different today, this is the routines, right? I mean, you talk about the routines being key to be able to assess all the variables and make a good swing. Is that accurate?
Routine is so important, right? And this book, these books are part of the routine. If they don't have these in their back pockets, it's almost like they're flying blind.
Yeah, well, you don't want to fly blind on a beat down golf course, definitely. Let's go ahead and get a little bit deeper into what some of the players are doing on the range here. Let's talk about just after 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we're going to be able to send it now down to the range. And our friend Hallie Ledbetter, who's with PGA coach Joe Hallett.
All right, Joe, well, we're standing here in front of Patrick Cantley, who's with his coach, Jamie Mulligan, who has arguably the best name for golf of all time.
Yeah, I think unless your name was Hacker as your last name. I mean, Mulligan is a great golfing name. You know, that brings about a good point that you and I kind of talked about here a little bit. They're just not working on the golf swing right now. Clearly, they have some technicals that they're working on, but you know, there's the PGA coach and the golf coach is part of a whole process. When these players are coming down here to Kiawah, believe me, they're in their garage and they're going, might need this one, I might need this one, I definitely need that one, and all of a sudden they're bringing more than 14 clubs. Well, Patrick and Jamie, as well as the caddy, have probably got together and said, okay, these holes could play longer. We may want to lay up on this one, so they might even bring an extra 3-wood or fairway wood. They might bring one of those muscle irons, you know, the lower irons. They used to call them 1-irons in my day, but now they're called 2-irons. And then they might bring 3 or 4 wedges. So planning and plotting the equipment that you would need. Now, that's probably going to cost you an extra $75 on the airlines, but I mean, this is a big event, and sometimes your member guest is a big event, so that's part of the process. And you know why they do that? Because conditions in the last 2 rounds could definitely change from what they have been these first 2 days.
Right, and when it is windy like this, here it is at Kiawah Island, what clubs, Joe, would you say you might maybe have in the bag over other clubs?
One of the things you definitely want is, and we see so much of them, the kind of the hybrid irons. I think they call them muscle backs. Some people call them a fat back iron. But something that can get the ball low, which is sometimes way too easy for our average golfers to do. And they say to themselves, low, I roll it across the ground half the time. But you want something that can keep the flight or trajectory of the ball low, but also help the ball get up in the air. I know that sounds like the craziest thing, but if you just go with a regular 3-iron or 4-iron, it's really difficult for someone shooting in the 80s to get that in the air. So that muscle back or fat back iron is one that will definitely help you.
Right, well, Patrick Cantley is someone who has great ball flight control. He can hit it low because he hits it really solid.
And when you speak of solid, that's something that we can hear out here on the range. And it's, folks, there is a great barometer on the game of golf and how people are hitting it. And when you go out and watch a golf tournament, listen. The first thing you'll hear is, gosh, that doesn't sound like mine. Well, that's a big difference, obviously. But the second thing is sometimes you can tell, gosh, that didn't sound as good as the other one. And you can kind of see the players, we talked about working on the swing. When they're working on the swing and all of a sudden that sound comes back, that kind of gives a little confidence in your inner gut, because all of a sudden they feel it and they hear it and they go, ah, now I'm getting what we're working on.
Yeah, someone that hits it solid. Tiger Woods always talked about how his dad said you can swing as hard as you want as long as you hit the center of the club face, which is so important in the wind.
There's that same sizzle once again.
Yep.
That's a sound literally that never, ever, ever gets old. You get out here and it's just like it's a symphony and a harmony that you just, it makes you want to go hit a golf ball and go, I just want to hear that once today.
There's an open spot just to the right of him. Joe, if you want to go hit a few, I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Maybe I'll bring my iPhone up and just record the sound.
Jamie Mulligan behind Patrick watching hit balls. Jamie's been working with Patrick, I think, since he was about 12 years old out of Long Beach Country Club in California.
What a privilege to work with someone as a junior, and literally we talk about the PGA coach and the journey through, but when you stand on the other side of that, not as the player, you always kind of scratch your head and you go, you know what, there was a few things I noticed about him that was a little bit different. He did have a little something extra, and to watch them make that level or achieve those things in their career, folks, I'm just going to tell you, as a coach, it's one of the most gratifying things you could ever have.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to send it back to the studio here on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.
PGA Hope, for those of us who haven't served, is a way to give back.
The camaraderie that we get out of the Secretary's Cup is just phenomenal.
It really swells my heart. It gives me a real thick feeling in my throat, because I know what many of the guys have been through.
On the tee, Coast Guard veteran Sean Schrum.
The pinnacle of what in my golf career, you know, because I think this is amazing to be out here.
We've got several of the teams here in person and several of the teams playing remotely and the sections around the country, but they're all coming together still to support PGA Hope.
They've made me feel like home. I'm safe here. It's really saved my life, honestly.
I didn't serve in the forces. This is my chance. I can give back this way.
PGA Hope is a great program that really helps veterans throughout the country, and we are happy to be joined here in our PGA Coaching live set presented by Cadillac by a couple of participants of that, one from the coaching perspective and one participant in the Secretary's Cup. Josh Wagaman is a head golf professional here at Cougar Point on the island here at Kiawah, and Gary Brisbane is one of the participants in PGA Hope. And Josh, I'll start with you. For you, why was it important to get involved with PGA Hope?
Yeah, for me, it is a way to give back to men and women who have given so much for our country and allow folks like me to do what I love to do every single day. It's just a way to give back to the community.
Yeah, and Gary, for you, how did it inspire you, getting out on the golf course, being able to participate as someone who's served our country in various forms for more than 3 decades?
Wow. Well, first of all, just getting out with some of the other vets and meeting them and enhancing my game. And that's what the pros did. When we got together, they allowed us to be us, but yet they taught us some things to enhance our play. And I can truly say that it did enhance my game. And I got a little better, at it. And I'm very pleased to have participated, in the PGA Hope.
Now, Gary, coaches like Josh, they change more than just your swing, your technical, your club face. They change your mind and your soul, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And, and just coming out and being around them, and they're so positive, and I appreciate, Josh, and not only as a coach, but also as a person and a friend.
Now, these programs, though, they're at no cost to the veterans. The 6 to 8 week programs, they're at no cost to the veterans. We know this game can get a little pricey at times. How important of a factor is that for all the people that are involved?
Well, as you know, it is important, and we're most grateful, and what a privilege it is, to work with such professionals. And we come out and we play golf, and we have that opportunity to be with each other and to hang out with professionals as Josh.
And they donate clubs, and there's so many things that are really offered that just more than anything, right?
Well, it's most welcoming. All the time, they are most welcoming.
So it's always interesting, right, as a golfer, we love to compete. There's always more than that, though. You always want to have an event to point to. So tell me about the Secretary's Cup. And Josh, we'll get into that. It's been 5 years since we started with PGA Hope with that event that brings these veterans together.
Yeah, the Secretary's Cup is a national tournament for PGA Hope in which 4 vets compete with 1 golf professional, lead professional of a program, in a scramble-type format. And the pride that the guys and gals show competing in that event is really something special, and you have to be there and see it to understand it. You can feel it. You can feel it on the range. You can feel it in the dinner afterwards. The camaraderie, the pride, the relationships that are built through the program and in that event are just so special.
And Gary, you were the captain of that team, right?
Well,
he was the leader of the team.
The leader,
sure.
Yes.
Well, and it took 3 tries. 3 tries. Josh invited me to his team 3 years ago, and we started out on this journey, and we got very close last November. We came in 2nd place.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, when we had our practice round, and as we were sitting there at the table with our meal, I said, "Hey guys, I want to win this thing. Let's go out and win it," and we did.
Now, it's not just you playing in that event on Monday. The group of all the PGA Hope from the Charleston area, they get to be involved in this 103rd PGA Championship in a really cool way on the 5th hole. Do tell.
Yes, we are. We are serving as marshals, and I'm one of the captains, and the morning captain. And so we are marshaling hole number 5, and it's a great experience. And all of the guys and gals out there, they are talking about the experience of just being here. And we're most thankful to the PGA and most thankful to PGA Hope for giving us this wonderful once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, making sure that people are inspired and learning things is what PGA Coaching Live presented by Cadillac is all about. So what have you learned looking at the 5th hole, the players that have come through your hole? What's the greatest tip that you've learned from these players?
Well, I've learned ball placement. I've been watching ball placement, you know, balance and tempo. Those are the three things that I've been observing.
It gets us all, doesn't it?
Yes.
Josh, this is your home. And what is the pride that you guys have had with having these 156 great players in your home?
You know, it's such a special opportunity to highlight the golf resort, and we talked about it a little bit before. This is such a special place for golf, and to be able to showcase that, have the best players in the world play this golf course and experience the island as a whole is just such a special opportunity for us.
All right, so who wins? You're the leader. Who's going to win this thing?
Well, you know, my horse is Rory, and, you know, he didn't have a good day yesterday, but I've been rooting for Rory.
All right, who else? Who's the other, another player that you just think is your favorite, who's been just a real gentleman and through
Jordan
your
Spieth. Yes, Jordan Spieth, you know, and so, you know, if it's not Rory, then my number 2 pick would be Jordan.
That's a popular pick.
Yes.
Very good. Well, Gary Brisbane and Josh Wagaman, we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate your service, and we thank you for everything that you guys have done with PGA Hope. Let's go ahead and send it now back to the range. Hallie Ledbetter and Joe Hallett.
Standing on the range here with Joe, we're watching Pete Ballo warm up. We mentioned earlier Claude Harmon, golf royalty, but Pete is golf royalty too.
Oh, it's the best kind of, it's the coolest kind of coincidence you could have here out on the practice range right now. Pete Ballo, his mom and his dad are PGA professionals. You want to talk about making this a family affair. I also believe his brother is on the bag. I mean, he knows this business. He knows every part of this business, you know, from going out and helping pick up the range balls, I'm sure, to hitting them out of the woods, to playing in the junior events, to running the junior clinics, and now you're at the biggest stage in the world, but it's all revolved around the PGA all your life. It's just such a neat story, and you've got something interesting on his mom.
Yeah, it's really cool. So his brother's on the bag, mom and dad are PGA pros, but his mom has played in 6 major championships, which is incredible. So I'm sure that she has imparted some wisdom on him as he's here playing in the PGA Championship.
Well, you talked about imparting wisdom. Let's just say it this way. For more than one reason, you should probably do what your mother tells you.
Exactly. You know, Joe, we sometimes forget that, you know, these 20 PGA professionals that are here playing in the PGA Championship, this is not their full-time job. You know, they're just happen to be incredible golfers on top of being PGA pros.
And many times it's a tournament within a tournament.
Yeah.
Yes, they all want to make the cut, and they all want to, you know, I mean, imagine the sheer joy of being able to lift the Wanamaker trophy. But at the same point, you know, those 20 also have a little bit of their own game going on. And I don't mean, you know, they're not gambling on it, but it's like they kind of get together and they're like, all right, we're going to play against all of us, and then we're going to do like a blind draw, and everybody has a blind partner. So this week not only becomes competitive, it becomes fun.
Exactly. I mean, just an incredible accomplishment to get here in the first place. Solid swing. I wonder if his mom or dad taught him that.
I don't know, but I would like to find out because I will be next on the tee with them. There's no question about it. Again, as we watch them practice here with the driver, the one thing I want you to notice as we've watched players both in our team of 20 and all the PGA professionals and competitors here, I love the hard swing with the driver. And I love the balance. And one thing in the balance with the drivers, you see a very tall posture on the finish. They're not leaning over, and they're definitely not wobbling or falling anywhere. So not only is the balance good, but you want a key to hit the ball a little bit further with the driver. Finish tall.
Yep. That's a great tip. Joe, we just got a correction here. It was actually Pete's dad that's played in 6 majors. So I'm sure his mom's got to be a stick as well if she's a PGA pro.
And based on my upbringing, you should still listen to your mother.
Exactly.
As you called it, I like it. Warming
The warm down.
The warm down.
Pete knows all about the warm down.
That could be a jacket line that you're coming out with now, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Couple of wedges. Get all that adrenaline shooting back down that you just hit with those drivers. Put that tempo back in there. And now, as you get ready to walk back across that bridge, go over, hit a couple of putts on the putting green, and now take the trip and enjoy the scenery, the gallery, and the weather out here as you make it to either the 1st or 10th tee today.
A few more wedges. Looks like he's ready to rock.
This is the funnest part. You kind of watch, you know, they open their bag one last time, they check the time, because even though there's clocks here everywhere, they look at their iPhone, they look at their watch. It's very important to be on time in a major championship, and on time means you're early.
Exactly. +8 yesterday, probably not too happy with that, but you know, today just free it up and have fun. Gonna go hit some putts before he tees off in the 2nd round of the PGA Championship. Aw, look at how cute
There
that
we go.
is.
That's what the game is all about.
Can you hold up the ball? Nice. All right, we're gonna send it back to the studio here on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.
Thank you, Hallie, and we're joined here on set by PGA coach and director of golf at Trump Golf Links at Ferry Point in the Met section, past PGA president in the Met section as well. Brian Crowell, welcome.
Thank you, Steve. How you doing?
It is so awesome. I love your energy. You're so passionate about the game, and you wear so many hats as a PGA professional and coach. Just speak to some of those hats that you do wear.
Well, I mean, one of the cool hats this week is to see our colleagues doing so well. We've got some club pros here, the team of 20, in position perhaps to get to the weekend, which I'm really excited about. I mean, that's going to be fun. But in terms of the rest of life, you know, there's a little teaching, a little event coordination, and hopefully some motivation for all the folks out there who want to play golf.
So other than our team of 20, some of the other sights and sounds that are fresh in your mind after round one, working into round two, these players trying to make their way to the weekend?
Yeah, obviously the wind is a big part of the story, and it seems like the players who are controlling their ball flight and controlling distances are doing the best out there. One of the things I saw was Phil Mickelson just kind of sawing off some shots, like 3/4 shots, and they're just beautiful to watch. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, we got a lot more crosswinds today. As a coach, what might you work on in a crosswind situation? A lot of the holes were more downwind or into the wind yesterday, and the end of the wind holes played majorly difficult. I'm curious to see how these crosswinds will play too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about the ocean course. The wind is not the only story, but the direction of the wind is a huge story. So players have to be sure of one thing, and that's what I'm going to help you with.
Okay,
Steve.
all right.
That's what I'm going to help you with. It is all about clean contact, finding the center of the club face. That's what it's all about.
Okay, all right. How do we do that? How do we find the center of the club face so we can get these golf balls go long and straight?
Foot powder.
Foot powder? I
Yep.
used that earlier this morning. Oh, wait. Oh, how are we going to use it?
This is going to be good. Let's grab your driver here.
All
for a
right,
second.
all right.
So this really is all about finding the center of the club face. So what we want to do here, you can get this in any store. I mean, it's just your standard stuff. Little foot powder on the face.
Okay.
So a lot of folks, especially those who are new to the game, are not sure whether they're hitting the center of the face or not. I think players like Steve Scott know when they hit it pure, but if you're out there struggling with contact, a little foot powder will show you where you're making contact with the ball, and that gives you a little clue as to how to get better.
Right, so yeah, you're right. It's not only about if the club face is open or closed. It's all about, and it's not about the path all the time. You can make a club face that's closed, but hit a slice, right?
That's right.
Because or hit a left to right shot for a right-handed player, just because the contact is a little bit more. Now, some of these manufacturers, like we have here, have a face that kind of helps that those off-center hits.
Yep.
However,
there's some great equipment to help find the center of the face, but the bottom line is too many people are out there worried about angles and all the different numbers on their launch monitors, and they just can't find the center of the face. And if you start from the center and work back, sometimes that's the best way to get better.
This is going to make my face antifungal as well? Okay.
That face is safe. So
okay.
Now I'm going to put a little pressure on you, see where we go.
All right,
here.
you're going to have to give me some room. There we go.
Yeah, I'm crowding you.
All right, you're crowding me. All right, this is good, though. Foot powder. All right, my first driver of the day. And I know a lot of you weekend warriors just go right to the tee, so you're sympathetic for what I'm about to do right now. That was a little left body, didn't quite turn on that one, but let's see where I hit it.
See,
Okay.
now this is what it's all about. See, now you have proof of where the contact was.
Get that right there.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Club face, a little high and right on the face. It's going to help that ball turn over a little bit, cut some spin off of the golf ball.
That's pretty good contact, though, and that was a nice ball flight. So again, a little spray on the club face, and you can find out where you're hitting it.
I love that.
You know?
I love that.
Good swing, too. You make it easy.
Awesome stuff. Well, another guy who hits the ball maybe a little bit more center on the face, Collin Morikawa, and he was with Rick Sessinghaus just recently.
I'm going to surprise you here. At the top of the swing, I'm going to tell you draw or fade.
Take a nice slow back.
Draw. So we've done this before in the past. Sometimes we overthink it, but if you're an athlete and react, I think that can also help us understand club face control on that. So that looked awesome.
I see all the PGA Tour players and I really want to be like them.
I just love seeing them play these beautiful courses and seeing their game blossom under such a perfect golfing environment.
I really like the short game area because, short game is one of the most important parts of the game. I really love how I get to improve and how I get to build on what I learn and getting to set goals and to see myself maybe even accomplish them. First time I took a swing, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. And so I practiced more and more. I just realized that it's a lot of fun to play it. I want to go chase my dreams and be able to, become a golfer one day. Drive to the championship!
I hit that great. I had a proper thud noise too.
Pretty good there. When I say pretty good, I mean very good.
I've always appreciated having a coach. Mark's been great.
When you're working with a player, you're looking for what are their Achilles heels, what are the issues. He was a really good iron player, but didn't really have a great wedge game.
Would you agree that you're trying to knock that down?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten so much better with my wedges since working with him. We've made that like a focal point. He kind of gets that I probably overthink, so he'll over-explain it to me.
The right arm structure is the big issue for you. What you can't do is retract the right arm. That's what I was trying to explain.
This from being back.
Yes.
People would be surprised that tour players pretty much work on everything. It's easy in this game to think you're doing the right thing, and you might not be.
Being a PGA coach just gives me an opportunity to help people be a better version of themselves. He has all of the ingredients to have success in major championships.
Hey Rick, what's up?
Hey Colin, just a reminder on the ocean course today. The wind out there can be really tough. You need to be able to control the curve of your shots out there. Remember what we've worked on.
All right, we're here at the 17th hole, ocean course, long par 3. We're right up against the ocean, so you're gonna get a lot of wind. We've talked about it with Rick, my coach. Getting ahead of the curve. Sometimes you're gonna have to hit a draw, but I love fading the ball. So, with me, I'm gonna aim my club face at the target where I wanna finish the ball, but I'm gonna have my body, my feet, everything else lined to the left. I think staying ahead of the curve is reaching new boundaries and trying to test new limits. If you get complacent and you start realizing that things are all right, that next person behind you is going to take 2 steps in front of you. The first thing when I sat down in this Escalade that caught my attention was this gigantic screen. I love it. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive now.
Back here at Kiawah Island Golf Resort, the ocean course, as we are into the second round, and we have a couple of players arriving, including Dustin Johnson, of course, being in his home state. Back here as he is getting ready for his tee time, that distinctive walk of a 2-time major champion. Shane Lowry arriving in his Cadillac as well, a past major champion, the Open Championship. And we'll see if that Irishman, the wind play, can be helpful to him as he tests himself in round 2. Ian Poulter, we will certainly see him, the Ryder Cup later this year at Whistling Straits. He arrives as well. And looky here, Jon Rahm may not have had quite the first round he was looking for, still though in the mix. He tees off at 8 a.m. So 8 a.m. for Jon Rahm. Andy Sullivan, actually the Englishman there, getting himself out of the Cadillac and into position to get ready to play. So Andy Sullivan, one of these players, relaxed as he gets to the ocean course. He may not be relaxed for very much longer. Sungjae Im as well, a winner on the PGA Tour, and he is a great ball striker, one of those players that we'll be looking for throughout the week. Of course, Rich Jones is back with us, PGA coach. And Rich, it's interesting because Sungjae Im, one of these players that we're talking about, and he never flips it at the bottom. I do. Tell me about how to fix some of those problems, those compensations that we often have when we're started in bad positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to see, and what we've been noticing all week in terms of the players, there's no flip, right? They're holding it off and really controlling, the flight of the golf ball. And it's so much more important with the wedges, right? So, this is okay, right? When you go up and down, that's kind of handling the lie angle. But this, when you go back and forth, flipping, right? You're changing that loft of the club.
So a hinge is good, a flip is not.
Yeah, in terms of if you want to put it that way. If you're going to have to choose one, right, I'd rather take the hinge, right? So the idea, you want to, make sure, and I like alignment sticks, right? So the first drill that earlier today, I'm going to use another alignment stick, and you can go ahead and take the alignment stick and just kind of hold it, put it right by the handle, and what you want to try to do is to maintain that, right? Obviously, when you go in and flip, it's going to kind of hit your body. So to avoid that, just really take the alignment stick, put it against the handle, and hold your grip, and really just try to hit some golf balls and maintain that. If you're starting to hit your body with that alignment stick, then that's a flip, right? So once you feel comfortable, go ahead and set up and really hit some small. Start small and really feel like that alignment stick is staying away from your body. Do a couple of those. Feel comfortable again. Keep it right next to your body and rotate your body all the way through. Go ahead and get rid of the alignment stick. And now you've kind of grooved everything in place, set up, and really just pretend that the alignment stick is there. Alignment stick is there. Keep that there. That, and it really help your game.
We're going to be able to look at how some of the players on the range are able to handle that. They're never going to be flipping at the bottom. Wilson, and now back out to the range, Hallie Ledbetter and Joe Hallett.
Standing here with Joe Hallett watching Lucas Herbert. He shot 4 over, Joe. He's not completely out of it, but he had 3 bogeys in a row yesterday, but was able to kind of steady the ship.
Fellow Australian Cam Davis we watched just a little bit ago, and almost the same thing happened. Cam threw a triple on the card, and the reality of this is this: we all have a bad stretch or a bad hole in golf, and I think our natural tendency is literally to get right back into it and go, I'm going to pick it all up on the next hole. No, you're not. You got to give yourself time. The only way you really need to panic is if that happens on the last hole. But gosh, in your competitive career, I know you've had times where we call it the bogey train, and that's what it is. And you're like, first you try and stop the train, and then secondly, you pull the little thing to notify the conductor, and the third thing, you're about ready to jump off of a moving train.
Right. Yeah, and when you try to stop the bogey train, sometimes, you get tight and you try harder. And it's such a, you know, you kind of have to do the opposite. You have to be conscious enough to be aware of how you're feeling and say, all right, take a deep breath. I don't need to do anything different here. And that's what Cam Davis was able to do. He made the triple, then made a birdie, and actually made it an eagle a few holes later. And now he's in second place. So,
and totally, we saw with Lucas, how did he finish that bogey train? I believe he threw a birdie on the very next hole after those 3 bogeys, and it's literally one where sometimes a bogey is a weird one. Sometimes you have to work for a bogey. Sometimes you're like, wow, I can't imagine that. I hit a horrible drive, a horrible second shot, a horrible chip, and I didn't make the putt. Yeah. And you go, well, I deserve that. And that's all part of that inner confidence that you talk about. And it's resetting yourself on the next tee. But the neat thing is that what's happening to some of the professionals here on this demanding golf course is what happens to us when we go out and play every weekend. And is there a way to get all those shots back in one particular hole? Unless you make a hole in one. No, give yourself some time. First things first, okay? Find out what you were doing good on those holes that you bogeyed. Oddly, every once in a while you make what's called a good bogey and you go, well, gosh, I chipped it good. I don't have to panic. You know, if I get the ball close to the green, maybe I could chip it in. So reframing things definitely helps.
Exactly. Let's watch Lucas hit a few here. Joe, what do you think about this alignment rod? What could that potentially be for?
Well, the only thing that crosses my mind right now is whatever he's doing, he should stick to it. Sorry, that was out there in the open and I had to go for that. But one of the things he's probably looking at is trying to get the club to go back on a straight path along the target line, making sure that that club face and path are very square to each other going back. What does that mean in plain English? It means if your club and the swing is going in a different area and the face is doing something all on its own, it's an alignment of the stars to hit the ball straight. If you start solid and straight, you have a chance of hitting it solid and straight.
Right, you see him rehearsing that backswing there. Well, we're going to send it back to the studio here on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.
All right, Hallie, thank you. We're going to get smarter here on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. And we're joined by Dr. Brett McCabe, noted sports psychologist. He's worked with hundreds of coaches, players, University of Alabama. Thanks for joining us. And tell me a little bit about what makes golf such a special sport in terms of your practice.
Yeah, you know, golf, the hard thing about golf is that it's one of those sports where you're solely on an island. There's no defense you can play. There's no teammate you can pass to. And you're really, just like this week out here at the Ocean Course, one bad shot can completely change around. And while we want everybody to understand that they can work through it, when you're playing golf, there's really no backing down or redoing. And so you have to learn and deal with it. And you don't have a fourth quarter, you don't have a halftime to reset. And so from a golfing standpoint, our golfers' minds have to be in a situation to handle the uncertainty of the round of golf. We want in golf so much to do it right. We want to feel good. We want all those other factors that we dream of. But what great golfers do is they prepare for the uncertainty and they know how to meet it. And that's what makes golf so hard. But I think that's why we love it so much and why it's so addictive.
You talk about uncertainty. One of your prized pupils who's playing some great golf lately, unfortunately, had some injury that had him to force him to withdraw today. Sam Burns is who I'm talking about. I mean, you certainly work with Aaron Wise. You work with John Rahm. I mean, so many great players who are on a heater right now. We need to start working together, too. But speak about Sam Burns. I mean, he's a player who has led more rounds on the PGA Tour than anybody. How do you explain his meteoric rise?
You know, Sam is a very talented young man. He comes from an athletic family. Dad and brother played football. He's young. He's got a lot of belief in what he needs to do. But what we worked on was learning how to play at the top of the mountain. You know, when you're out here, first thing you have to do is learn how to be out here. Then you got to learn how to contend out here. Then you got to learn how to win out here, and then how to close, and then bigger events. He's so talented. But the thing that I love about Sam is he's so coachable. He is unbelievably, he'll do whatever you ask him to do. He'll put himself in those positions, and then you can actually watch him on TV, and he's doing what you just talked about. And he wants to get better, and he sees himself in this role. He wants the big light. And look, you know, I think he's got an amazing relationship with his swing coach, Brad Pullen, PGA professional from North Louisiana. He's been on that team since he's 11. That's a mentor to him. It's somebody that he loves being around. And it's just a great team environment.
Well, it's very interesting, a case study with John Rahm. We always think about him. The first word that comes to mind is fiery, the fiery Spaniard. What sort of tricks? I mean, I know everybody out there maybe gets a little fiery when they play golf, but how do we kind of calm the mechanism to help it to our benefit?
Well, I'm going to probably say something that most people have disagreed with for years, but I don't think we need to stay calm on the golf course. I think what we need to do is accept what we feel. The thing is that I don't want us to ever do anything that disrupts our we don't want to do anything that embarrasses ourselves or disrupts the game or makes our opponents mad. But if you make a double eagle, you're going to be excited. Yeah. You make a hole in one, people are jumping up and down, they're high-fiving. Well, if you hit a great shot and it goes in the water, you're going to feel angry. Now, here's the problem. What happens to players at home and even out here is they hit a bad shot and they get a little upset, like, I can't believe that happened, or, usually it's a little bit more colorful than that. But what happens is then where we make a mistake is we say, why do you always do this? Why are we always making the same mistake? That's not about that shot. That's like going to a family dinner and somebody brings up something from when you're in 8th grade and it starts a family war. That's what we do to ourselves. And so when we try to suppress our emotion, we're spending more time trying to keep our emotion down versus getting it out and moving on.
But I think, isn't it important, though, to kind of have like just an area where you hit that shot where you do get frustrated, but then the key is not letting it carry over?
Well, you want to let it go, right? And so my experience is it's kind of like having a yawn. If you go ahead and yawn, if you feel the urge coming, it goes away. So what I want them to do is within 3 or 4 steps, let it go. If they have a long walk or, you get in the cart and you get back in the cart and you're listening to your music at home, I want you by the time you get to the next shot to say, okay, it's this shot that matters. It doesn't matter why I'm here. I'm in this position. If I dropped a ball there, you'd face the challenge. So that golf ball has no reason, has no idea why it's in that position. So see the challenge of that position. And a lot of times I'll challenge my players to say, can you be the best player after a mistake? Mistakes are going to happen, but can you be the best player after a mistake?
The bounce back stat, so important, right?
Yep. And I've got some good players that are great at that, and I give them a lot of credit because it's not easy to make a mistake and feel frustrated. That's what's interesting out here is this golf course is all about that mistake and how do you manage it.
Well, Steve, you mentioned it. Bounce back is more than a stat. It's a mindset. And Dr. Brett McCabe, thank you for giving us that mindset right here on PGA Coaching Live.
I'm 2012 PGA Teacher and Coach of the Year, Michael Breed. I want to talk to you about how you can make more putts. And it's very simple. You just have to use your eyes properly. What do I mean by that? Well, I've got a little putt here of about 10 feet, and we've got a little right to left to it. I'm going to show you this break that we have in here. And what you can see is that ball takes that break nicely, and it swings around. We got a lot of break in this. Now, what do I mean about using the eyes properly or using the eyes correctly? Here's what you have to do. You have to use them in one of 2 ways. One is what we call spot putting. Spot putting is you get into this and your eye is picking up a spot around the hole. So I'm going to say this is maybe about a cup, 2 cups to the right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure when I spot putt that I'm looking at that spot and then coming back to the ball. So I'm jumping the line up to that spot, back to here. Putter aimed at that, and now all I'm going to do is hit that at that spot there. Now, line putting is a completely different thing. What you're doing now is you're using your eyes to trace the line. So you come out of the hole. Where do I think that ball is going to be coming in? All right, it's entering at 430. It comes out from 430, and now it comes up here like this. And now I'm basically swimming laps with my eyes. So I trace it from the hole to the ball, and then from the ball to the hole, and then from the hole to the ball. And when I've done it a 3rd time, now I just hit this ball into that lap that I've just seen with my eyes. And it's not important that you make every putt. What's important is that every putt has a chance to go in. And the way that you do it is understand how you putt best, either using the line or using the spots. I have so many people that come to me and say, Michael, I can't see my line anymore. I don't know what's going on. And then they get in here and they're spot putting instead of line putting. You've got to make sure that you know whether you're a line putter or a spot putter, and then use your eyes accordingly. And when you start to do that, you'll stand over these 3-footers, 8-footers, 10-footers, and you'll hit putts that have a chance to go in. Make sure you use your eyes properly, and you'll make more putts.
Since I was a junior golfer, PGA professional Rick Sessinghouse taught me to be creative with my shots and how to execute them. His coaching guided me on my journey to become a major champion. At the PGA Championship, I look forward to competing against 20 PGA club professionals from across the country who promote the game, just like Rick. They might be underdogs, but this week, they're all players, just like me. Don't miss a team of 20 at the PGA Championship.
Hi, I'm Steven Youngner, PGA head golf professional here at the Ocean Course at Kiawah Island. We're here on the 13th hole, a 497-yard par 4. This hole presents all kinds of challenges for not only the championship players, but also lots of challenges for our day-to-day players. The biggest challenge we have on this hole is navigating the hazard that guards all the way to the green. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to hit the ball as far left as I can and stay in the fairway, give myself a long second shot, and do the best I can to try to make par from the fairway. So I'm going to try to line up as best I can at the right side of that sandy area and make a good confident swing. So there we go. I'm in the fairway and I've got a chance to make par. I hope this driving tip helps you in your next round at your local course.
We're back here in our set at PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. We're nearing the end of our session here, but we still have some more tips for you. And to do that, Joanna Coe is back with us. And before we go back to the range here, there's some techniques that some of the players may incorporate here. Tell me what you think they might want to do.
So what we've noticed on the driving range, and I hear this comment a lot from my students at home, is, wow, tour players really extend their left arm. They have that really straight left arm at the top. So first of all, not all of them are rigid and straight. Like Jordan Spieth, you see a little bit of that bend of the left arm. But what they aren't lacking is in rotation, and they actually use their wrist properly. So I want to kind of clarify some facts about the left arm, all right?
Please dispel myths.
So first, this is what I see a lot at home, where the body is not rotating properly. We don't have a lot of proper wrist usage, and the left arm looks like this at the top. So let me just make a swing like that. Okay, a lot of just crunching of the arms. So what I want you to feel here, okay, you're going to be my assistant.
Of course.
You're going to put this alignment stick across your chest, another alignment stick on the ground, and I want you to match those sticks on the ground with some proper chest rotation and hip rotation, and then just extend your arms out to here, okay? So we're going to switch here with the club.
How about that end?
All right, so as you can see, now my left arm has room to extend, and I've used my a proper wrist hinge, okay? This is establishing the correct lever. So like what I was saying before is, no chest rotation. You're crunching the left arm because you're trying to create another lever. This is the correct way to do so, all right? So I've gotten that comment a lot from folks at home. How do I get that nice straight left arm? Okay, so I would say more rotation, proper use of the wrists.
Well, we'll see if some of the players on the range are able to incorporate that. Joanna Coe, thank you. Let's now send it back to the range. Hallie Ledbetter.
So we're down here on the range with some fans. You guys having a good time?
Yes.
All right, and who have you been watching on the range?
I was watching Cooch a little bit ago.
What do you like about Cooch's swing?
I like his tempo, but I like the fact that he doesn't ground his club before he kind of sets the tone for his backswing, I think.
How is your game compared to Cooch's game?
I got a little work to do on mine before I can get within a few miles of his.
Am I guessing that you might not have a PGA coach? We can send you to the right location at PGA.com.
I have a coach, but it isn't a PGA coach.
Well, there you go. That's the problem.
This is a lot of fun.
And what about you, Scott? You said that you actually had some you actually had some say in this whole practice facility.
That's right, and was very fortunate to work with the resort team to do the renovation on the golf course, help the team. Known Pete for many years, and he was ill at the time. So yes, this used to be just a field, and the owner and the team allowed us to do lots of improvements. So it's been a great project. We did that work in 2019.
Well, it looks beautiful. What about you, sir? Who have you been watching on the range?
I like Webb. It's been beautiful. Great, fun to watch.
If you had to pick one thing that you've seen this week off of the range and put it into your game, what would it be? Is it the distance they hit it? We've heard that a lot, but what would it be?
I would have to go with the raw power. I'm at the point in my life where I'm not pounding it out nearly as far as these guys, but to hit it out there 270, 300 yards is phenomenal.
And they do it time and time and time again. And literally one thing that you all probably haven't seen as much during the practice on Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday, those equipment fans that were in the far end, part of that is the equipment. So making sure that your driver has the right loft, the right shaft, and getting that wrench out of the bag and figuring out what setting to put it on. Sometimes they have a little saying that's like, if you can take 10 swings in 10 minutes, we can get you 10 yards on the same club you have. So that's just an option, but that might get you to 275.
So you're telling me that it's equipment. Equipment could help my game.
I'm an instructor, and I'm telling you, we blame the equipment all the time.
Exactly. Sir, what about you? What have you liked so far when you've been looking at the range?
I'm just glad to be out here at a major for one thing, and in a beautiful, beautiful setting at Kiawah on a perfect, perfect day, Chamber of Commerce day. And I'm more or less a non-golfer, but I do appreciate the skill that goes into it.
When you look at the setting out here, especially the range, like you said, it's beautiful and it's peaceful. Does that peaceful and beautifulness kind of go to angst and terror when you get out on the golf course and you see what they're actually facing on some of these holes?
Well, Dan, and I just can't imagine being surrounded by thousands of fans and trying to focus and concentrate on my next shot like they do.
Sometimes, and that's really at a venue like this that is so challenging, sometimes literally they don't even see the fans because they're really looking and going, I've got to hit that quadrant of the green right there.
Yeah, exactly. So how often do you get to play golf?
About twice a week.
And how often do you get to practice?
I don't practice.
Okay.
I hit about 2 balls and then go.
Joe, what do you have to say about that?
Well,
I'll never be any better than I am.
No, I was actually going to ask that question and say, sometimes how often do you practice? And 99% of the time the answer we hear is, well, I hit 6 or 7 balls before I go and tee off. And literally, if there's a way that you could even take 10 minutes and, like we talked about, maybe just pick 5 golf balls, but make them worthwhile. Maybe plan it out ahead of time. I'm going to hit 2 chips, 1 drive, and 1 7-iron. And what you'll do is you'll end up spending a little bit of time between all those, making a practice swing. And some people will say, 10 minutes, I got 5 golf balls, I can get those done in 30 seconds. So whatever your forte may be, that's the way you kind of could start structuring some practice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we will see you again in the afternoon on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.
That's right, Hallie, but before we go, let's go ahead and talk about Corey Conners, the round 1 leader, and he really, truly has a great move, a consistent move. Show us a little bit about what he does well.
Yeah, let's kind of wrap a bow on this, right? We started with Corey Conners and his syrupy swing. Let's take a look at a couple of things that he does really well, and I'll just kind of let this go for a little bit, and we'll watch this beautiful slow motion. Notice that left arm. I mean, Joanna talked about that lead arm turning really well, and these players, I mean, they're all very, very flexible and move through the ball, and we'll see that syrupy transition right there. But the move I want to show you, look at this right here. This is a really cool position right here. So we watch this club, and we watch the retention of the angle right there, and yeah, that's a beautiful angle right there. It's not 0. It's not that. It's more than 90 degrees there. He's retaining that angle, really pulling down very well and rotating that club face through. And we'll watch how this moves through the golf ball. moves into his left side. Watch that right arm extension. What these players do so well, not only are their transitions very smooth, their arm swings are so big and wide, and they utilize all of their power of their golf swing throughout to a nice, balanced finish. Beautiful swing. Tied for lead. He's slipping back just a little bit, but there's about an 8-way tie for the lead at 3 under par right now, and this guy's one of them.
Well, one of the players, best round ever in a major championship, Brandon Grace, one of those leaders, and Phil Mickelson. We had some fan interaction. That is a fan favorite. That would be a story of the weekend. That would really move this PGA Championship here at Kiawah Island. Of course, we're going to be back here, as Hallie said, noon Eastern time. Back with you for a couple of hours here on PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. For Steve Scott, I am Scott Walker. For our entire team, we're looking forward to seeing you in a few hours back here from Kiawah Island, the Ocean Course. PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.